Hello YouTube, I thought I'd show you a little bit me working on the car. I'll show you the new ball joint, the strut, give you the number for the front strut. Then give you a picture like when I put my new bolt in there, you know, the video I showed with the rubber things, everything I cobbled together. We're going to show you how I redid my brake rotor. And I do not recommend anybody doing this. Is why I'm putting it on a video like this. I'm not going to make a video about doing it. It is not safe. I'm running out of money. I bought new brake pads over $30-some, but they're the semi-metallic, so they will scrub up whatever is left of the problem on these rotors. So let me pause and I'll show you that. Okay, hope you can see with the bright light. Excuse my dirty hands, I always say that. When you run your brake pads, they'll leave a groove here. See that shininess? And then down in here, see the difference? Okay, I took the slip off with 36 grit flapper disc, but I stayed out on the edge and I tried not going just barely past the edge, about not even a quarter inch. Then I took the 120 disc, went over it. I got down here at an angle, got this out, down here with the edge of this. Then I took 150 grit on the quarter sheet sander, palm sander, and sanded it. So I know they're pretty flat. I did not gouge the rotor in where they're warped. And I'm pretty particular. Let me show you the other side. Oh, and I did the face of this. There, that's better. See where that grooves them? Well, one of them, I'd put a wheel bearing in this car, and there's little pins I'm going to show you later on in the video, and I'll be indoors showing you that. The pins stuck in these rubber things and made the brakes lock up, and it wore the outer pad down to metal. And conveniently, the little metal squeaker thing I'll show you was gone and broke off or whatever. So I don't know if the car went in for an oil change, it was squeaking, or what the deal was. We've had this to various shops over the years, so I didn't have to do the work. The squeaker was gone, so it just kept eating the brakes till it just started. That was the other side. It started eating in the rotor, and it did not look as good on the front as the other side of this one. Believe me, it had a gouge out here like you would not believe. It really ate it. But that's pretty flat. You want this flat, because with a pad rider, you do not want a new pad on there because it'll start eating into the pad, and it won't grab here. So that is a safety issue. So do not do this. I'm not responsible. There's your disclaimer. I might put it in the description. I said then 150. So you can see that. So these little lines don't really matter much. Okay, we'll take a break here and we'll go over to the car and show you what it looks like. My redneck creeper, Harbor Freight moving blanket and cardboard. If you really got luxury, you can put plastic down our tarp if the ground's a little muddy. See? It works. And I was using a cardboard box for a pillow the other day for my neck, or use a 2-liter plastic pop bottle for like a pillow under your neck. So let's get in the car and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, real quick. Here's the strut that goes on this car. There's your number. There you go. Okay. Back in here is the sway bar. That's where that bolt's gonna go. New ball joint. Had to grind these rivets out. I had to do it from the top because I'm so close to ground and I don't have enough muscle to drill up. Believe me, I drilled and I chiseled. It took hours to get these bolts out. Then you got to drill the whole beggar to get the bolt in. I about broke my wrist because my new cordless drill had so much torque that it ripped it right out of my hand when the bit stuck. So I was trying to run the drill and shove it in the hole, you know, so you wasn't starting out slow. A place like this, look where your pads ride, them little legs. This stuff has to be filed smooth. Like right here, can you see that? This stuff has to be filed off smooth. Like up in here, your brake pad's right on here. File this stuff off and clean it off the rust. Here's the problem. See these rubber things? I'll show you these pins when we're inside. They were sticking. Well, I put a wheel bearing and put never sees over here, okay? These pads were more even. A little more even, I would say. The other side, it just stuck. And it just stuck and wore the pad down because the caliper was sticking. Hope you didn't see that cracked CV boot, but I'm out of money and I'm going to drive it for a while to have to put one in. It's not hard to put a CV shaft in here, but new struts, I gained like 2 inches in ride height. This was a little higher dollar bearing you can fit out because this hasn't rusted. They make 2 versions of these, $40 and $50, whatever. I think that I bought the high dollar. It's a little bit better quality. I cannot tell you how many years this has been on here. Okay, one more of the ball joint. And that'll be it till we go inside. But I will take some pictures of this when I get the strut thing in there and all that. So, stay tuned. I'm going to go back to work and then I'll be inside working for a little bit. Okay, here's these pins I was telling you about. Go through the caliper. And there's like ridges in the rubber. And these did catch a little bit. They were kind of sticky. They're hard to get out. You got to ratchet out here with the 3/8 Allen thing that's in a socket on your 3/8 ratchet. And you're ratcheting them out. You're trying to pull it out of there at the same time. Because you cannot get in here to push them out. You know, you're going through the caliper and you'll see where the threads go if you're really looking there. But there's really no way to pull these out. Maybe get a vice grip to hold it here, little ones, and start pulling and twisting once the threads are out. Well, what you've seen before. We're going to take them over here to our belt sander. Then we're going to go polish them. We're going to actually use polish when we're done. We're probably going to take about 20 thousandths off these. Because I think the rubbers get old and they actually swell and that's why they stick. Then I got some oil. It's that little, I'll show it to you. You might have to look for a picture. It's a little tube of oil. It's super slippery, synthetic, whatever. I can't think of the name. I'll try to find it before when I get over to the polishing machine over there. So stay tuned. We'll get these cleaned up. We're going to degrease them first. We don't want grease in our sanding belt. So degrease the parts first. Okay, these are belt sanded, and that ain't going to work good enough because they're going to be too rough. So we're going to take them to my abrasive wheels, the different ones, like I always show you, the red and the gray. Not this, not one of those, these type, the red and the gray. Okay. And then we'll look for that oil we'll show you we're going to oil the rubber with. Before I forget, this oil I'm going to use, it's super slippery. I didn't want to use any kind of grease that could get gummy. I didn't want to spray it like I didn't want to spray anything that could make the rubber swell up either. So we're going to chance this stuff will work. Super lube. Okay, this is after abrasive belt, and the sanding belt was like this. We kind of went at an angle, so we're trying to get rid of them lines and grooves that the sanding belt made. These had some probably zinc coating, if you've seen how gray they look. Okay, now I have to polish them with some black aggressive polish, because we want to polish them, we want them super smooth. I think this will do the trick. Just clean the ones up before and putting some grease on it kept the brakes from sticking. So we want to go that extra step. We bought, like I said, we bought the next step up, like the semi-metallic pads from the El Cheapos, because they're more aggressive and the springs are better on how they hold them. I read the reviews on them too, but all my parts came from Advance Auto. And I don't get paid to say any of that, but that's where I got my parts at, and there's a reason for that. I get better service and they get me what I want. There. That was a plug for them. They deserve it. Okay, here they are polished and wiped off. And I tried going at an angle. Like I said, we're getting rid of any of them lines, because I said them rubber inserts have ribs on them, and they, you know, we don't want anything to grab on them. That's part of the problem. They're probably old and swelled up. Good enough. Okay. That'll be it for now. It's going to be me go back to work, and you'll just be waiting for the next video clip. So, back to work getting this on, and then, oh, I'll show you one more thing before I go to work. I'll show you the sway bar link bolt. Okay, I always look for the pictures at the end. Here's a factory one, okay? This plastic comes apart right here. This one wasn't bad, but believe me, the bolt is rotten. I really don't want to take it apart. This bolt in here is rotten. It's ready to break. You gotta trust me, I ain't taking it apart. And this stripped all the way. There were threads pulled out. And I'd have a big crescent wrench on there. And I would turn, and then I'd smack on my little ball peen hammer. And then I'd turn it some more, and I'd get it to grab some more. And you guys are making me take this apart. Darn you. Anyway. It just ain't right not to show you. This is going to be a long video. See, it's not my fault. I tried to get you not to want to look. Can you see that? See, it was ready to break. First, could reuse these parts they have. I'm not throwing away any parts that are any good. Somebody else might need them. Okay, here's the cobbled up thing I made. And here's I bought a replacement. Now I had one for $8, one for $10.99. Well, the $8 one looked like rubber bushings that were really cheaper than this. They look like you could squish them so soft in the picture. That's high performance. This is like one step away from the racing parts. And you can pause on this if you want. Remember, this is for 2004 Cavalier. And I will put it in there. I don't get paid. Let's pause a second. I want to look at height difference. Okay, these are smashed. Remember, this has to go through the control arm, which is not very thick. See how the rubber has an extra step go through the hole? And then through the sway bar, which is pretty thick. But that's why you get them steps, because there's a hole in there and it's beveled. This is beveled in the sway bar. So, and this spacer is about the same. I mean, it's close enough. I think they're a little longer because my sway bar sets up a little. It does not matter though. It's a sway bar length. So I said I think I took a picture of that. 04 Cavalier. So let's go put this in before we put the brakes on, so we got a little more room to see something. Okay, we are done. Can you see where that rides on there? Where I told you on the metal, the file and stuff. Make sure it's clean. You know, it's not perfect, but at least there ain't no lump. See that? That's where the brake pad rides, right on that little square one. Those pins went right in. Here's one here. I put a little oil on it as it went in. So I put a little oil, slid it in a little further. A little one. They went right in. The other side has a problem with the rubbers. I think they swelled up. They could have sprayed a bunch of gunk. These are tight as whatever. Oh, put 2 nuts on your rotor. So it's on here straight, like the wheels on when you put these on. And there's clips on these, like this has clips. This has an internal clip, or it clips inside there. I'm sure you all know that you got to pry these back with a big screwdriver. And like I said, someday I'll make a video of all the tools I use. I use this, that big flat bar I made out of that big giant wrench. So I've used many of the tools. And my keen cutter chisel to chisel the rivets. I'm glad I want a chisel like that. Make sure your brake line ain't kinked. I sprayed that with some rust preventative spray. And bushings. See back there. I'm going to spray that with some spray. Just some rust preventative, not WD-40. That's stuff I always tell you from the dollar store. I'm going to spray back in there. And then down in here. I don't know if you can see it. Up in here somewhere. Can you see back in there? I'm going to spray all that. There's rubber in there. I greased the tie rod. Said I took a picture of that. Sway bar link. So we're done. Thanks for watching. I'll have plenty of pictures this time. Like I said, we gained 2 inches in ride height by changing struts. So we got ones for the back. We might make a video showing the back ones. Real quick. They're very easy. They're just like changing almost a regular shock absorber. They're so easy. You got a bolt on the bottom and you got the 3 bolts in the trunk. You take off the top of the strut. It saves the top of these. There's that jounce bumper. That's what they call it. Jounce. Look these up. You want some heavy duty struts on your Cavalier? Put these on there and spend the money. Don't buy them cheap factory replacement. Don't buy the cheapest ones they have if you live where I live. Our roads are getting very, very bad, the county highways and stuff. I mean, there is ruts so bad it'll tear up a new car. It is terrible around here. Oh, as far as camber's what your wheel leans in. I shove these struts over this way as far as I can. So what that does, it'll give you like maybe a 1 degree negative camber like a stock car. You don't want your wheel leaning out at the top, you'd rather have it leaning in. So I can take curves like a race car driver. Look at that, that's my resurfaced rotor. Backyard rotor resurfacing. Gotta laugh. Got what you gotta do. So these are real good pads. They're semi-metallic. Aggressive. Better than just the cheapy ones. So 36 bucks versus like under 20. You can see why I spent the extra money. So thanks for watching. We're out of here. We had enough of this. Gonna take a break before we put the wheel on. We'll do a video on that some other day. There's pros and cons on that thing. For 30 bucks, it's worth it, but there's some cons on it. If you want to stay tuned when I talk about that. I'm not complaining. It's just, I'm an old guy, and it's, let's just say, look how short the handle is. I'll give you a hint. The biggest con, look how short that handle is. Okay, we're out of here. We had enough of this. See that? That was conveniently broke off, so it never squeaked. I just started hearing something scraping up in here. This will be stuck in the video somewhere. It'll just pop up somewhere for you to see.